We have to find somebody that'll work with us that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business. We're losing.
Diddy's career may already be beyond repair. After 50 Cent released the prison tapes allegedly connected to him, the internet erupted almost instantly, with speculation spreading across every platform. The public reaction wasn't just shock, it was anticipation. Everyone wanted to know what else 50 Cent might be holding back. That curiosity only intensified when 50 Cent sat down to discuss his upcoming Netflix docuseries, Sean Combs: The Reckoning. During the conversation, he made it clear that what the public has seen so far could be just the beginning. According to him, more tapes exist, and he has every intention of releasing them, suggesting that the fallout surrounding Diddy may be far from over.
There's other stuff that you just have not shown.
Yeah, well, everything couldn't make the. There's only was 4 episodes,
Right.
so it was a lot. You had to pick and choose things. Like even in like an area where he chooses to date people who he knows previously dated someone. He has a baby by a woman that was dating Tupac.
Wow.
To add to it, but we had to cut it down so
For time.
Yeah.
So are you coming out? I know next year is going to be a number 2. Season
or
2?
I just put it on YouTube.
I just put it on YouTube.
The platform may have shocked people even more than the hint itself. That's right. 50 Cent has now suggested that additional Diddy tapes could be released on YouTube, making them instantly accessible to anyone, anywhere. Unlike controlled leaks or exclusive releases, this would put the footage directly in the public domain, removing any barriers between the material and the audience. But the most explosive revelation to emerge since that interview goes far beyond the tapes themselves. Diddy has now been exposed for allegedly attempting to intimidate and influence a juror, a claim that has sent shockwaves across the internet. If proven true, this development could be far more damaging than any recording. Here's what we know so far.
Recording. Well, Diddy was recording because he thought he was about to beat the case. So he wanted to do a Netflix documentary. Didn't pay the guy, and then 50 got all 140 hours of footage of secret Diddy tactics. Well, there's a guy named Neil who was mentioned in the court, works right up under Diddy, was organizing everything. Allegedly, they are saying that he is on video, film, tampering with witnesses, giving out addresses, offering money, bribing, we'll pay for your lawyers, all kind of shit that could be counted as witness tampering, obstruction of justice. And 50, of all people, has his hands on this footage. And I'm hearing that this could implicate Diddy's lawyers in some bullshit. They could be charged. This shit is getting wild. And I'm hearing that this 50 Cent documentary is just the fucking tip of the iceberg.
This guy in this video said one specific name, and it was Neil, and it automatically made me think of Neil Dominique. Everything that we just covered the other day that came out from Diddy's former chef, Jordan, who was going to be a witness testifying against Diddy in the criminal trial. If you remember, she just took to her Instagram calling out Neil Dominique, saying that he was basically the one to give Diddy information that she was testifying to the grand jury. She has been claiming for a while, when she testified to this grand jury on April 2nd of 2024, just 2 weeks later, Diddy's attorney would text her saying, "Dear Chef Jordan, this is Aaron Dyer. I'm Sean Combs' attorney. I left you a voicemail last week, but wanted to follow up. I have been told you have been contacted by law enforcement and might want an attorney to represent you." So that man in this video was basically saying that 50 Cent has video footage of Diddy talking to these people and setting this up to go after.
The wildest part is that this time the claims are coming directly from 50 Cent himself. After online chatter began spiraling, he openly confirmed that he possesses an astonishing 140 hours of footage. He didn't dance around the issue either. Posting publicly, he wrote, "Yes, I have the footage, lol," a casual statement that instantly sent shockwaves through the internet. But the situation doesn't stop there. Since making that admission, 50 Cent has gone even further, explaining why he decided to come after Diddy so aggressively in the first place. What he's shared suggests this isn't just about leaks or publicity, but a calculated decision driven by deeper motives that are only now starting to surface.
Just telling this it's clear. I don't have any reserve, like the fear that they would actually have towards him. I don't think he's special.
As it turns out, Many individuals who had previously refused to appear in earlier documentaries have now agreed to come forward for this one. According to sources, they trusted 50 Cent's involvement and no longer felt afraid to speak out. That shift alone has added even more weight to the project, suggesting that this series may reveal perspectives and accounts that the public has never heard before.
There's a lot of people in this docuseries that wasn't in the previous docs that you saw because they said, no, I'm gonna do that one because 50, that's gonna be the big one. Because I'm not scared of none of that. Like, I think it's just the way I was brought up. I don't really register those things. I've been through way more extreme things than these people. I look at the project. It's just another project to me, and they can look and create reasoning for it. It could be their personal take on why it's the way it is. But if they watch the docuseries itself, they understand it's been done tastefully and it is the best version of a docuseries that you'll see on this. Well, he's a big part of the culture. Like he's a respectable. He made it to a respectable position within culture. Any smart person would pick their fights. And you say, I don't really get anything out of it. It's not my business anyway, so why say something about it? Like the docuseries is me putting together people who had different experiences and letting them tell their truth, right? And a lot of things come out that make clarity for you in a different way to it. But I only was comfortable saying stuff about him because I've been saying it for 20 years. I've said it since that day. I'm like, what?
One of the most significant breakthroughs came when he secured footage from Diddy's final days before his arrest and indictment. According to 50 Cent, seeing that raw material for the first time was explosive and deeply unsettling, a shocking look at a moment few ever expected to witness. The footage, he suggests, captures a man on the edge, making it one of the most powerful and disturbing elements of the entire project.
It was really fascinating.
A journalist would ask that, but a journalist would also say, I'm going to keep my sources secure. But I got it. They can blame it on me. That is that. I think he's going to actually like the project. He's going to see that it was done fair, the perspective. Because he's going to see too many people or he'll be consumed by what his personal experience was with each individual that's saying things about him because he lived these things. She's going to understand it. You can interview her following that and I'll do the interview with her. I'll make sure I put it together. Yeah, because I had communications with her to understand it, what's going on. And even though she's not in the docuseries, it was important I spoke to her to understand how things transpired. The husband, I spoke to him away from her, as separate individual communications. And see, things kind of match up. Like when people say things, they're like, oh, okay, I hear what you said. But when you hear things multiple times from people, different people, it kind of rings true to you. He got old real fast. His hair was jet black, like mine. And the next day, he was like a full. All I saw from him was the raccoon pictures from the courtroom. When they drew him, it looked like a raccoon.
And just like that, 50 Cent stepped back into the spotlight with the one thing he values most: proof. Real receipts. He made it clear that this wasn't just talk or long-running beef, but documentation, evidence, and timing. In his view, if you're not producing a full documentary about your rival's downfall, then you're not operating on his level. He even addressed why so many A-listers once connected to Diddy have remained silent, suggesting fear, loyalty, and self-preservation all played a role. For years, 50 quietly gathered material on Diddy, patiently collecting anything he could while waiting for the right moment. That moment, he believes, has finally arrived. With Diddy now behind bars, reportedly lashing out at his legal team from prison, 50 has nothing standing in his way. Attempts to stop the project have already been made. Diddy's lawyers issued a statement calling the documentary illegal and allegedly pressured Netflix to remove it, but the series continues to gain traction regardless. However, one major omission has sparked controversy. The documentary does not include the death of someone once very close to Diddy, his former bodyguard, Anthony "Wolf" Jones. Gene Deal, another longtime associate, has publicly criticized the project for leaving this out. He has spoken about what he claims was Diddy's role in Wolf's death and challenged popular narratives surrounding the East Coast versus West Coast rivalry, insisting it did not begin with Big Jake's murder as often claimed. According to Gene Deal, Wolf was not the gunman responsible for Jake's death, a fact he says was well known among those involved. Wolf, who handled security and coordinated operations for Puff, had reportedly made it clear that he would not travel unless his team was fully protected. Gene claims Wolf warned multiple people, including Puff and Kirk Burroughs, that he would not move forward without proper security in place, a warning that, in hindsight, raises even more troubling questions.
And Kirk Burroughs called me up. He said, yo, Gene, you and Wolf, I got y'all tickets to LA. I said, all right, cool. So I go down there and I pick up the tickets to LA. I got Wolf ticket. So I'm calling Wolf up. I said, yo, Wolf, I got your ticket to go to LA. Wolf said, I ain't going. I said, what you mean you ain't going? He said, yo, Gene, I ain't gonna tell you how I'm making money. I ain't gonna tell you how to make your money, but I'm gonna let you know this. I told Puff them if they wasn't gonna take 2 tour buses of my niggas out there with us, I'm not going. Wolf is the head of all the functions that has to do with Puff dealing with security. I have my own contract with Puff, yeah. Paul Offord ran Green Gate Security, which is the daily operations of Puff stuff. That's his house, his cars, his transportation. He ran the office, the bad boy office, the clothing, all that shit. He ran the daily operation with his security. Wolf is over whatever's happening with Puff. You understand? Wolf tells Puff them and tell Kirksboro them, no, if y'all not going out there right, nobody should go out there at all.
Tragically, Wolf ultimately lost his life while protecting Puff and managing security operations. Gene Deal has emphasized that this crucial part of the story was entirely omitted from the documentary, including Wolf's alleged connections to BMF. According to Gene, leaving out these details removes important context and glosses over events that he believes are central to understanding what really happened.
So, Wolf did not and was not going anywhere that had to do with California. And it wasn't because of the Jake situation. It was that he wanted to be safe, and the only way he felt safe if he was going out there with the dudes from his clique. And that was the Valley Mob. That's the only way. Wolf ended up losing his life behind Puff and his bullshit. And people they didn't even put that in the documentary. Wolf ended up losing his life behind Puff and his bullshit. And that bullshit was with BMF. That's a big segment in my book that I wrote that whole shit. I wrote a whole big situation in my book regarding that, Mike. And I know you're doing this. I want to say that right there because I was there the night that Meech had promised Puff. You know what I'm saying? He ain't have to worry about Suge Knight. He ain't have to worry about nobody from this point on. And telling Puff some shit like that made him think that he could talk to Wolf any kind of way. Because if anybody knew, BMF was powerful back then. They had dudes from everywhere. And Meech telling him he ain't have to worry about nobody no more. It made Puff think that he could tell Wolf that he didn't need Wolf no more. And one thing led to the next.
Gene's point is straightforward. Wolf's death was not a random accident or a minor footnote in a larger story. According to him, it was directly tied to the power dynamics of the industry and to decisions made by people at the top. That reality, he argues, deserved far more attention than the documentary gave it. While these criticisms circulate, Diddy and his family are reportedly preparing a massive $1 billion defamation lawsuit in response to the series, a move that would make it one of the largest legal actions of its kind. However, as 50 Cent has pointed out, filing such a lawsuit would require Diddy to prove that the claims made in the documentary are false. That alone could open the door to even more scrutiny, testimony, and evidence, potentially creating far greater complications than silence ever would. From a financial standpoint, the pressure is already mounting. Even with significant wealth, the cost of ongoing legal battles, appeals, and legal teams is draining. Without fresh income, maintaining the lifestyle Diddy once enjoyed becomes increasingly difficult, and that slow erosion may end up being the harshest consequence of all. But the most serious issue may lie elsewhere. Diddy is now facing fallout from secretly recording private conversations with his own lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, the attorney who previously helped defend him in court. For the legal system, this is a major breach of trust. Attorney-client privilege depends on confidentiality and honesty, allowing lawyers to protect their clients without fear of exposure. By allegedly recording those conversations, Diddy undermined that privilege entirely, turning one of his strongest protections into yet another potential liability.
Mark Garagos, who is my co-host on Two Angry Men, he's represented Diddy for years, and his daughter is part of the Agnifilo defense team, and he was involved in all of this. So in this past weekend's podcast, I pushed him to find out how Agnifilo really feels here, and Mark kind of skirted it some, but I think you get the sense. Diddy knew that Mark was being recorded, but Diddy didn't tell Mark. Does Mark feel betrayed by Diddy?
I've not talked to Mark about it.
What do you think? What do you
I
think?
will tell you I'll just tell you, if it was me, I would be more than a little upset. I was more than a little upset when the client didn't know and I was being recorded. I mean, there was a while there where I was meeting clients under bridges, freeway bridges, because I was PTSD over it. So I think, as a lawyer, it is one of the most inviolate oaths that you take to protect the client confidentiality and the client privilege. So I don't know. I haven't talked to Mark, but if I were Mark, I would be out of my head.
Out of my head.
It's incredible. Diddy did two things here. Number one, he betrayed Mark Agnifilo, who, to your point, did so much for him. Obviously, without Mark Agnifilo, he may very well be spending the rest of his life in prison. The second thing that he did is, by having a third party that's privy to the conversation, the videographer in this case, standing there, there's no privilege, right? Diddy waived that entire privilege. Now, it didn't end up backfiring because it seems nobody knew about it until the end of trial. And what are you going to do at this point? But it's such a callous act by Diddy to just sell out his lawyer like
selfish.
that. It's so selfish.
Ever since Diddy made what many are calling an incredibly foolish mistake, the shocking revelations about his criminal dealings and activities have continued to surface without pause. The documentary includes footage from this period, showing Diddy walking the streets, stopping to take photos with people, mostly men, who approach him. In one striking moment, he jokes about needing hand sanitizer and a bath after all the hugs he's given, saying, "That's what I have to do." It's like 150 hugs. You feel me? We got to be realistic about what's going on out here. It's time to cleanse. The scene, meant to be lighthearted, instead underscores a sense of detachment from reality. In another clip, Diddy discusses hiring an editor to compile footage of Don Richard, a former member of his groups Donity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money, who has filed a civil lawsuit against him. Don's suit alleges sexual assault, battery, harsh working conditions, and inadequate pay, yet the footage Diddy wants to highlight shows her speaking positively about her relationship with him. Considering the serious allegations Don has raised, Diddy's attempt to portray the opposite comes across as manipulative and, to many, downright malicious. It's a stark example of controlling the narrative at the expense of truth.
Be on the stand for 20 minutes. She will continue on Monday, but before I tell you what she testified to, I do want to give you a warning that she does talk about violence and abuse. Started off with Dawn testifying that she was working with Diddy from 2004 until 2011. She opens up about an incident she witnessed in 2009 when she went to Diddy's home in order to record. He said her and Cassie were downstairs when they heard Diddy yelling and coming down saying, "Where the F are my eggs?" He said Diddy grabbed the skillet full of eggs and tried to hit Cassie on the head, and she went down in a fetal position. He was punching and kicking Cassie before he put his arm around her neck. Diddy then grabbed her by the hair and dragged her up the stairs, and she was in shock. He said she was so in shock she did not intervene, nor did she call the police. Next day, she said Diddy locked her and another person in the recording studio and threatened them. In her own words, he said what we saw was what lovers in passionate relationships do. He said Cassie was okay and it would be in our best interest if we didn't say anything. He claims that Diddy then said he was trying to get them to the top of the industry before threatening them by saying where he comes from, people go missing if they talk. Then after all of that, he got them flowers. Prosecutor then asked, "How did you understand that?" And she said, "Death." His attorney yelled objection, and then they had a sidebar. That's when attorneys from both sides will come up to the judge and whisper between one another and nobody else can hear.
If she witnessed, and she's saying that she witnessed a gangbang, which actually we know it as called a train. And she worked on the album, The Train to Paris. And like I heard one of the YouTube, it could be Tistel, say that we didn't know what the train to Paris meant. But now we know that the train to Paris was a train in Scotland, according to Dawn. It wasn't a train in Paris, it was a train in Scotland. Now, only time I ever witnessed Puff doing something is when 2 guys and 2 girls will go in the room. And that was just regular. And however they did it, whatever they did, that was their business. But he gotten bold enough, whereas that he would do that in front of Dawn and other people at a poolside in Scotland. You sure it was Scotland, man?
Yeah, that's what she said, man.
Scotland, Arizona, but not Scotland, the country.
Nah, she talking about the country, man.
Wow. I just think that, you know, man, you got to go back to the drugs and the alcohol, man. The drugs and the alcohol, man. And those things that make you do strange things. And for somebody to, gang banging an assistant, she might have a lawsuit now too. She might have a lawsuit too. Because you can't do that to people that work for you, bro.
The series also features audio from a 2008 proffer interview with Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, who is currently awaiting trial for the 1996 murder of Tupac Shakur. For context, a proffer is a legal arrangement that allows someone to speak with law enforcement and provide information without their statements being used directly against them in court, though it does not offer complete immunity. In the documentary, Davis provides a detailed account in which he claims that Diddy allegedly orchestrated Tupac's murder for a payment of $1 million. This revelation adds a chilling layer to the series, connecting Diddy to one of the most infamous events in music history and further fueling the controversy surrounding his public and private actions.
Yeah, and he even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to that shit. Or else it would have been like a murder for hire or something, you know what I'm saying?
The FBI said that Zip.
So the FBI told you the
he
same
was a
thing.
dirty motherfucker, yeah.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well.
They said Zip's a dirty motherfucker. Everybody cross you. You're the last one to know every fucking thing. Even lawyers, your friends, everybody.
Does this prove that Diddy carried out the crime? Not at all. An interview or proffer like this does not automatically establish guilt. However, it becomes significant when combined with other pieces of the puzzle, including statements from the alleged killer himself. By connecting these accounts, a clearer picture emerges, even if it falls short of definitive proof.
What makes you say you lost your empire because of Puffy? Why you say that?
I did. Shit. If I wouldn't have never met him, I would have never been involved in this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? If I would have never met the brother, I would have never been involved in this bullshit. Really. Because me and Suge was playing on the same Pop Warner team and everything. My homeboys helped put Suge in the game and all that shit, you know? And, we really crashed 2 people in Empire that fucking one night. I'm saying mine's for sure. Suge too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man. So you feel like Puffy, he's the reason for your empire and Suge empire going down because of the whole situation with Tupac.
Exactly. He the only one still balling. Shit. Yeah, he made our shit go down, man. Yeah, I ain't even met him. He won't even look out or nothing. You know?
So break that down, man, for the people out there that don't know the backstory. What did Puffy do exactly to break down y'all empires?
Because he pitted us against each other, it seemed like. Seemed like he pitted us against each other. You know, which was kind of smart because we're Crips and Suge was Bloods. Like, you know what I'm saying? He just called me and Zip was rolling up Greenleaf one night. He called and asked, you think it's safe to come out here to do our concerts? I just said, man, give me like 50 tickets. Each concert, we'll be out there with you. We'll go with you. We went to the concert in San Diego, went to the concert in Anaheim, Irvine Meadows, and the one in Las Vegas with them. Yeah. And back then they was just a startup coming up. You know what I'm saying? They didn't really have no money like that. We were balling. We was bosses.
The documentary also explores Diddy's earlier life, delving into his relationship with his mother and his past romances, many of which were reportedly marked by abuse. It provides a closer look at his mindset during his rise through the music industry, shedding light on the experiences and decisions that shaped him both personally and professionally.
This is a young man who grew up with street-funded privilege. After his father passed away, it's very clear that his mother kept on hustling and kept hanging around hustlers. Tim Dog has described the parties in the house: pimps, hoes, hustlers, models, basketball players. You got that kind of crowd. There's got to be a drug dealer or so there. Alcohol everywhere. There was a stage built in the living room, and they were asked to perform as kids. I mean, like, this is how he grew up. It was almost if he was designed to throw the parties that we'll later hear about. From the white parties to the parties overseas, with very, 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 very interesting things happening there, all the way to the freak-offs. It's like Sean Combs was in a never-ending party his whole life. Now, from a boy being draped in chinchilla to a boy running around the streets promoting parties, interning for Andre Harrell before he got a paid position. I mean, his life was like a whirlwind. It was almost like he was in too much of a rush to grow up. I mean, even the way Andre Harrell said he bullied his way into his home, coming up with some story about a fight between him and Janice and how he couldn't live with his mom anymore. And the next thing you know, he's living with Andre. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. In my opinion, I do not believe they were just roommates. I do not believe this was just a mentor-mentee relationship. In my opinion, from rumors that I've heard, from some things that might have been lost along the way, there was a much closer relationship between Andre and Puffy.
Diddy grew up in an environment that combined street influence with a certain level of privilege. After his father passed away, his mother continued hustling, maintaining ties with people deeply entrenched in the streets. Tim Dog has described the kinds of parties that took place in their home: pimps, hustlers, models, basketball players, and a fair amount of alcohol. There was even a stage built in the living room where kids, including Diddy, were asked to perform. This was the backdrop of his childhood, shaping him in ways that would later define the legendary and often controversial parties he hosted, from exclusive white parties to overseas gatherings, all marked by indulgence and excess. From being draped in chinchilla as a boy to running around the streets promoting events and interning for Andre Harrell before landing a paid position, Diddy's life was a whirlwind. He seemed in a constant rush to grow up. Even his early interactions with Andre Harrell illustrate this. Diddy allegedly bullied his way into living with him by concocting a story about tensions at home. Observers suggest that their relationship went beyond mentorship, hinting at a much closer, more complicated bond. Throughout his life, Diddy consistently involved himself in risky, legally and emotionally charged situations, somehow managing to emerge unscathed. Taken together, these revelations paint a portrait of a man both deeply troubled and capable of causing harm, continuing cycles of trauma while impacting the lives of those around him. His story, as explored in the documentary, shows a complex figure shaped by privilege, chaos, and ambition, someone whose personal and professional life has long been entangled with risk, power, and controversy. For more powerful and eye-opening content, don't forget to subscribe to US King Master. Thanks for watching.